Alright, so we start unit 2. Alright, sampling methods and concepts. Sampling methods. Now we are going into sampling methods. Okay. Even though the data collection part is important, but when you get a sampling section very well, I think the rest is going to be easy. So when you're able to figure out the type of sampling method you are using, and you apply it, and then you get your sample, and now everybody is responding to your questionnaires, then getting the data won't be a problem. So it is very important to know your sampling methods. Okay. All right. So basic concept of sampling. Nearly all statistical surveys, whether they are for decision making in business, for policy formulation in government, or for development of social and economic theories, are sampling. Okay. So sampling is a process of learning about the population on the basis of a sample drawn from it. So you are saying sampling, it means you are trying to it's a process. Okay, it's a process of trying to learn about the sample, right? So you pick a sample and then try to do something with a sample. That process is called sampling. Okay, so take note of that definition. Take note of that definition. Those are the things that when you pick your books, exercise books, while watching the videos, you write them down. Okay, you write them down. So that is that. So data obtained from a sample during sample surveys are used to estimate population quantities called parameters. Okay, so take note. Now when this is the assuming this is a population, this is a whole population, and then you pick a sample. Okay, you pick Kwadwo out, Ama out, Efua out, and then you form your sample here, right? So this is a sample, this is a population. So this is your population, and this is your sample. So picking the sample from this population and trying to learn anything about this is what you see. We are doing what? Sampling. Okay, sampling. Now, why do you pick this sample? Because you are trying to you can't use the whole population. You can't. Your resources cannot be enough. But you want to do something about, get some information about population using these guys. Okay. That is basically what is happening here. So assuming you want to know the population mean, okay, you want to know the population mean, which is x, let's say x bar, capital X bar. All right. So but you can't use the whole population, so you pick a sample and try to estimate small x bar. Okay, so then you say that small x bar, all right, is an estimate for this parameter. Okay, it's an estimate for this parameter. So this is a statistic. This is what? A statistic, because it's coming from a sample. So the estimate, this value, the thing that you calculate from a sample are all called statistic. Okay, and then now when the thing that you use that statistic to estimate, which is a capital X bar, this is parameter. Okay, parameter. So data obtained from a sample during sample survey are used to estimate population quantities, and those quantities are called parameters, such as the mean population proportion, or total. Okay, so in theory, all these parameters can be determined exactly through a complete enumeration of the population. Yes, that is in theory. So they mentioned that in theory, all these, the mean, you can know it exactly. The proportion, you can exactly know that. The total, you can know if and only if you can do a complete enumeration of the population. You can count. So assuming you want the average salary of Ghanaians. If you can take every Ghanaian salary, then you will get the exact value. All right, you get the exact value. All right, but the fact that you can't get, or you can't do complete enumeration, then you would have to resort to sample survey. Okay, get an estimate to estimate your parameters. All right. So the following are the main justification for using sampling. Okay, so we are trying to justify, we can't use the whole population, but we should find a way to justify that even if we are using sample, there is some kind of hope. Okay, so we say that sampling can provide reliable information at far less cost. Okay, so you want to do that because you think it won't cost you a lot, but at least you can get some reliable information, okay, at a cheaper cost. So you would want to do that. Okay, with a fixed budget, doing a census is usually unpracticable. Okay, unpracticable or something. You can't do it. It's very difficult to do, right? Sample data can be collected more quickly for the survey results to be published in a timely fashion. For example, knowing the exact current unemployment rate in Ghana would not be very helpful if it takes years to complete the census. So you want to know the current unemployment rate, you want to take the whole Ghanaian, everybody there into consideration and take the data. It's going to take years. By that time, it will even be useful. All right. Estimates based on sample surveys are often more accurate, okay, all right, than the results based on the census. This is a little surprising. Okay, a census often requires a large administrative organization. So here we are saying that it's shocking to see that they are saying that the sample surveys are often accurate. So it's accurate in the sense that because the thing is small, anybody in charge of whatever doing it is going to put in a lot of effort. So assuming there are 2 million people and then you take a sample of 1,000. So for 1,000, your workers will work very hard and then make sure they don't leave anything out. But assuming you allow them to take the whole 200, headache. Some people might even sit somewhere and fill the questionnaires on their own. All right. So that's the aspect that will make census very ineffective compared to sample survey. But in general, census supposed to have been better if only if the resources are enough, everybody is doing the work perfectly, then you can actually compare the results of a census with that of a sample survey. So take note of that. All right, so these are some other terms that it will be very helpful to know them. Okay, so sampling units are items included in population. Okay, so sampling unit can be classified into two kinds: elementary and primary sampling units. So sampling unit, assuming now you go to a community and you want to know their average salary, isn't it? So each person in the community who is a worker is probably is part of your sample, your population. So a worker is your sampling unit, or somebody who is employed is a sampling unit. Okay, all right. So elementary sampling units are all the items contained in the population whose characteristics are to be measured or counted. An example of elementary sampling units include students of K University. So you want to do a survey on K University, you want to look at students CW, average maybe the average CW or something. All right, this is what you want to look at. So your sampling units are the students. Okay, students, and that is elementary. That's the lowest point. Now primary sampling units. So primary sampling units are the groups. So here is groups. So take the notes. Groups or clusters of the elementary unit. So here we are saying students, but here we are saying clusters. So we have maybe departments, because in a department it's a group of students. All right. We may have associations. Associations are a group of students. Okay, those who form the primary unit. So probably your survey wants to look at maybe performance on departmental levels. Then your samples will be departments. All right, the sampling units will be the department. Okay, all right. So take note of that. And then the sampling frame. So you're selecting a sample from population, the list of members of populations. So it's like you want to take the average CW of KNUST students in KNUST, then you have to list all KNUST students. Okay, list all of them, and that will form your sampling frame. So a list of all KNUST students is a typical example of sampling frame. Okay, and then the target population is the population where you intend to sample. Okay, so the population originally defined, or the population we intend to sample, is referred to as a target population. So before you do any survey, you should know the target population. So you come into a community and then you want to do a survey, look at average salary. Your target population is not the children. All right, neither are the old men sitting in the house not working. They are people who are working. Okay, because you are talking about salary, right? So that should be your target population. That's a typical Nigerian way. Population. All right. So now that we are done with those terms, we have explained those terminologies, we will delve into how you can take samples. So that will be scheduled for another video. Okay, so